Hello, this is Music Tech Help Guy, and welcome to episode 16 of my Pro Tools 11 video tutorial series. In this episode, I'm going to go over vocal comping and creating a composite take out of multiple vocal takes. If you're not already familiar with playlist recording and editing, you might want to check out the previous video, which was episode 15, where I showed how to record takes to a playlist and then comp them together. I'm going to essentially do the same thing today, minus the recording part, and just doing the comping for vocals, because it's probably one of the most useful things you can do for vocal recording, and it helps expedite the recording process because you're not sitting there having to try to make decisions on what was the best take on the fly, although some people prefer to work that way. But when you're on a tight deadline and you have to spend as little time possible tracking the vocals, I prefer to take five or six decent takes and then just worry about comping them together later. So this is the tune I got for you today. I've got bass, drums, guitars, and synths. They're all sort of just stemmed down from multiple tracks just to keep the screen looking less cluttered for the video. And then there's a blank vocal track down here, but there's actually some playlists hidden in the track. So here's just what the part of the song sounds like without any vocals. It's like the first verse of the song. All right, so if I go to our lead vocal track here and switch from waveform view to playlists view, what we'll find is that there's a whole bunch of takes in here on our playlists. So when she recorded for me, she did 5 takes of the first verse, several takes of the bridge, several takes of the second verse. This is all the chorus, and then another bridge. So I just had her do somewhere between like 4 and 6 takes of everything. And then I was gonna just worry about putting them together later. So let's take a look at our takes for the verse. Now, in order to hear these takes along with the song, what you need to do is use solo whatever playlist you want to hear. So let's start with the first one. Now I can tell you right now that this first take is a little lackluster, a little lazy. She's sort of warming up. Probably not the best take. These are the ones on the top are the most recent takes, or the last takes that we did, which are probably going to be the better ones. So most of the material we're going to pick is probably from these top 3 or top 2, but the bottom is sort of a warm-up take. So let's just listen to this. So solo the playlist and hit play. And by the way, when you click somewhere with the selector tool to audition these playlists, if you want the playhead to keep going back where it was before, make sure that you turn off the what's it called? What is it called? Insertion follows playback. Yeah, the insertion follows playback. So make sure you turn that off. All right, so let's listen to this warm-up take.
If I had another day, if I had another way, I'd spend it.
Yeah, it's awful. It's very flat, out of time. Let's listen to this next one.
If I had another day, if I had another way, I'd spend it right here with you. Trapped in ice, I'm just a slave.
That one's not too bad. Let's listen to this one.
If I had another day, if I had another way, I'd spend it right here with you.
All right, so they get a lot better after you get past this first one. I'm just gonna go ahead and just delete that one. Now the goal isn't to just grab one of these takes and bump it up there. It's to listen to each section and hear what the best take from each one is, or listen for each phrase, and see which take sounds the best. There you go. So let me just zoom in on this first phrase here. And what I always like to do is just make a selection over the phrase. And then just solo one of the takes, hit play.
If I had another day, if I had another way, I'd spend it.
All right, here's the next one.
If I had another day, if I had another way, I'd spend it.
Next one.
If I had another day, if I had another way, I'd spend it. If I had another day, if I had another way, I'd spend it.
Now this top one is a little, she rushes it a little bit.
If I had another day, if I had another way, I'd spend it.
Actually, that one, she's the most in time. These three, she's sort of behind. So I'm just going to drag over this take all the way up to here. And you just hit the up button. What that does is it bumps the take up into the main playlist. Now, I skipped over this last little part here because I actually thought this one sounded the best.
I'd spend it. I'd spend it.
Actually, I like that one the most. So we're going to bump that up as well. Just hit the up button. And then it just puts both of those takes up there. So now, as long as I don't solo on the playlists down here, if I hit play, we'll hear this and this.
If I had another day, if I had another way.
Let me listen to this very first part on one of these.
If I had.
The word had's a little flat. Let's see if we can find a better part there.
If I had an, if I had an, if I had an, if I had an.
Yeah, I like that one better. So just drag over that part, pull that up. And so now we've got three different takes up here. We're going to worry about editing this later. So, all right, let's move on to the next phrase. The goal here is to learn to do this so you can do it quickly, you know, so you're not wasting all day at comping vocals.
Right here with you.
That's pretty good.
Right here with you.
I like the energy of the top one better.
Right here with you. Right here with you.
I kind of like this part of this one. Bump that up. But I like this part or this part.
Right.
Almost identical. I'm going to bump this one up. I didn't like this because it just sounded like she overmodulated the mic a little bit. Let's go to the next section here.
Trapped in ice, I'm just a slave. Trapped in ice, I'm just a slave. Trapped in ice, I'm just a slave. Trapped in ice, I'm just a slave.
Yeah, I like the top one the most.
Trapped in ice, I'm just a. Trapped in ice, I'm just a slave. Trapped in dreams.
Yeah, I definitely like that one. Next section.
Trapped in dreams, I can't escape. Trapped in dreams, I can't escape. Trapped in dreams, I can't escape. Trapped in dreams, I can't escape.
Definitely not this one. It's a little flat. I can see there's a little bit of like a plosive in there. This one doesn't have the plosive, but the other three do have the plosive. She probably just sang a little too close to the capsule. I'm going to go ahead and grab.
Trapped in dreams, I can't escape.
I'm going to take this part. It's just the word trapped for me isn't working on that one. Let's see what this one sounds like.
Trapped in dreams, I can't trapped in dreams.
Yeah, I like the way she says it there. So again, like sometimes we're talking about like 5% improvements in quality from take to take if they're a really consistent singer, which can be really difficult to, you know, to pick and choose.
Consciousness is fading away. Consciousness is fading away. Consciousness is fading away.
Not that one's flat.
Consciousness is fading away.
I kind of like how she tails off on this one, but I like the energy in these top two. Let's see if I could take this and make it work with one of these up here.
Consciousness is fading away.
Yeah, let's do that. All right, so now I've got a complete take up here. I'm going to go ahead and hide my playlists. Go back to waveform view. I'm just going to pull this up to the top so you can see it a little better. There we go. And generally what I like to do is I go in here and I just tighten up and clean up the edits. So I just use my trimmer tool and my selector tool to get the edits as clean as possible, trying to edit in areas of low volume rather than areas of high volume when I can avoid it. Trying to avoid, you know, cutting off syllables like this, editing before the syllable. Let's try, it was just that one word, wasn't it? Yeah. And sometimes when you do this, I mean, you lose the flow. You may end up having to nudge notes around to make the flow work, or just, you know, go with a different take just to, you know, keep the flow of the whole take. Because obviously, some of these takes she's a little behind the beat. Sometimes she's a little ahead of the beat. So before I even go and try to add fades to this, let me just listen to it.
If I had another day, if I had another way, I'd spend it right here with you. Trapped in ice, I'm just a slave. Trapped in dreams I can't escape. Consciousness is fading away.
Yeah, we may have to do some like nudging in there later to kind of make some of the rhythms line up a little bit, but overall I like that. I'm just gonna do a heads and tails edit now. Actually, the very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag over all of this. Whoops. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. Oh. Hang on. Keyboard's freaking out on me. All right. You drag over all this. Good Lord. Okay, it's my mouse that's freaking out on me. Let's try this again. You drag over all this with your selector tool, and as long as your key focus mode is on, you just hit F. And what this does, you probably didn't even see it, but what this does is it creates a tiny little fade at each edit point. So you don't have to go through and add manual fades. Now sometimes you may find that a larger fade ends up sounding better, but in this case I'm just going to leave them small fades, and I'm just going to heads and tails the end, drag over the whole thing, and then hit Shift Option 3 to consolidate. And let's see what this sounds like now.
If I had another day, if I had another way, I'd spend it right here with you. Trapped in ice, I'm just a slave. Trapped in dreams I can't escape. Consciousness is fading away.
And of course now we can, you know, worry about adding EQ and compression and, you know, beefing up her voice a little bit to just make it sound a bit better here. And that's the thing about, like, when you're in the editing stage, I try not to add plugins really at the editing stage, just because it gives you sort of a false sense of how good a take is or how bad a take is. You can think a take that was totally just bad, just a bad take, can sound better if you add EQ and compression to it while you're editing it. So I usually save the EQ and compression for afterward.
If I had another day, if I had another way, I'd spend it right here with you. Trapped in ice, I'm just a slave. Trapped in dreams I can't escape. Consciousness is fading away.
And there you go. So that's comping vocals with playlists. Probably one of the most useful things for playlists. And the great thing about the playlists is, you know, they're still there. So if the singer says, "Hey, I didn't like how this part sounds," or "I don't like how this sounds," you can go back and punch in a different take. All right, so this is just some ideas to get you going with vocal comping. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks again for watching.